And welcome to Hannity. So we had two leading governors from two major states with two vastly different ideologies. They just squared off right here on the show Hannity. And last night's explosive and informative red state, blue state debate between Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, California Governor Gavin Newsom, it did not disappoint. Take a look.
California does have freedoms that some people don't, that other states don't. You have the freedom to defecate in public in California. You have the freedom to pitch a tent on Sunset Boulevard. You have the freedom to create a homeless encampment under a freeway and even light it on fire.
I love the rant on freedom. I mean, here's a guy who's criminalizing teachers, criminalizing doctors, criminalizing librarians, and criminalizing women that seek their reproductive care. You're making it harder to vote. You're banning books. I mean, spare me this notion of freedom.
You almost have to try to mess California up. That's what Gavin Newsom has done since he's been governor.
You in particular, Ron, are on a banning binge, a cultural purge, intimidating and humiliating people you disagree with.
He's very good at spinning these tales. He's good at being slick and slippery. He'll tell a blizzard of lies to be able to try to mask the failures.
The fact, he's running away from his record. He's running away from the fact.
We do count Gavin's in-laws as some of the people that have fled California and come to the state of Florida.
It's about the United States of America. I thought this guy was running for president of the United States.
If you are too. You just won't admit it.
Are you running for a third?
You just won't admit it. You will not admit it.
I'm the only guy here that's a border state governor. You're trolling folks and trying to find migrants to play political games, to try to get some news and attention so you can out-Trump Trump. And by the way, how's that going for you, Ron?
Try to put lipstick on that pig, but the fact of the matter is he has failed the people of California.
I can handle it. I'm used to bullying. You're nothing but a bully.
You're a bully.
I understand that. Intimidating and humiliating people, that's your calling card.
All right, coming up, we're going to get reaction and analysis from both sides of the aisle. Also, Newt Gingrich, Senator Rand Paul tonight. And stay tuned, we have a major announcement at the end of the program. Spoiler alert, we have another big show in the works, and it will happen next week. All right, unlike the other networks, we are not afraid of a spirited debate. Now, none of this would have been possible without both Governor Newsom, Governor DeSantis. They both deserve a lot of credit, and they seem to really enjoy the opportunity. Both thanked me after the debate, and Governor Newsom tweeted out what a good time he had and wanted to go longer. And let's be honest, there was only one clear-cut loser if we're going to look at last night's debate objectively. That'd be President Joe Biden. Here's the reality. Joe Biden could never come on this program for a debate like last night because he's not mentally capable. Now, think about this. Look, I really don't believe Joe Biden could be a Walmart or a Target greeter. Okay, if you shop like I do, did you ever walk into a Walmart or a Target? Anyway, there are these wonderful, kind, amazing, helpful, often retired people that will greet you and say, welcome to Walmart, welcome to Target. What might you be looking for? They'll help you find it. They'll tell you where the department is that you're looking for. I like that because when I go to a store, I like to go in, I like to get out. Now, I don't think Joe would be able to remember where the departments are. At 81 years of age, in steep cognitive decline, Biden's having a hard time talking, walking, and even staying awake. His hearing's not good. His vision's terrible. The font size on his teleprompter is gigantic. He's not fit to serve. He should definitely not be running for re-election. In fact, he is one major trip and fall away from ending his campaign. And based on last night, we know the Democratic Party has a much better option who can walk and talk and form sentences and debate and speak eloquently about the liberal issues that they're passionate about. And I've been warning conservatives and Republicans to watch out for potential replacements for Joe. And Gavin Newsom, like it or not, would be on the short list. I've been warning people. Now, Newsom does have one big problem. He's the governor of California. The Golden State has a lot of problems. Now, maybe in fairness, it's not all of Governor Newsom's fault, but after more than a decade of single-party Democratic rule, its citizens are leaving the state in droves. They are leaving with their feet and their money. And by the way, California, it should never struggle. It has more natural resources than any other state in the country. I lived there 5 years. It is a beautiful state. They have year-round agriculture, the best wine-growing region in the entire world. Silicon Valley they have, Hollywood, Disney. It's also a major private equity and financial hub with some of the largest international ports in the entire world. It is a gateway to Asia. But now California's population, it is shrinking and shrinking dramatically. And while the U.S. population grows every single year, well, California is one of the only states in history with negative growth. Now, just 3 states, California, New York, and Illinois, had a net loss of more than 100,000 people in the years 2021 and 2022. One big question: the cost of living. The state's taxes, they are among the highest in the country, a whopping 13% top marginal rate. If you're a married couple in California and you make $84,000 a year, you are taxed, your income tax rate is 6%. That is a ton. It's expensive to live in California. In Florida, income taxes are 0. Nobody pays income taxes. The state regulations are also extreme when it comes to California. Housing costs through the roof. It's the homeless population. It is the highest in the country. Crime is also a massive problem in California. The violent crime rate in the state is double the rate of Florida, significantly higher than the national average. These are real problems facing the citizens in California. It is some of the most extreme, at the time, COVID policies in the country. It's kids, they were kept out of schools longer than most other states, and yet this is an interesting fact when you think about the different approaches to COVID. The COVID death rate in California was similar to Florida's, according to the CDC, and interestingly, both below the national average. Now, the bottom people are leaving California for a reason. The bottom line here: it's a hard place to live, especially for middle-class Americans. California's government, it has stifled development, raised taxes, increased costs, failing to maintain important infrastructure like the electric grid, and the state has also dropped the ball when it comes to public safety. But this is not the result of incompetency. Instead, these problems are caused by ideology. California can be turned around. And sadly, a lot of these policies are driven by what I call the climate alarmist religious cult and these woke social justice warriors out there. California has thrown reason and logic too often to the wind in order to appease the emotions of far-left ideologues, and now the numbers speak for themselves. But despite all of this, everyone on earth knows that Gavin Newsom would be a Democratic candidate, better Democratic candidate than Joe Biden. Now, will Joe Biden step aside? Will Vice President Harris step aside? Because he only, in the case of Joe, he seems to only care about himself. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.